everybody. New Periscope here. New Periscope name, Maria Napoli on. Hello, hello. And so feel free to swipe and share. I'm kind of new to this Periscope thing. I'm used to making videos, which means that I can like delete stuff. So this will be fun. Hey, a quick wrap. How you doing? All right. So I'm gonna start these Periscopes up oftener, and downloading these videos to my YouTube and blog, possibly, perhaps. But anyways, I just want to share a quick Periscope with you guys and talk about a book I'm reading. I love my books. Y'all know that. So this book I'm reading right now, though, I have to say, books usually don't kick my butt too often, but this book, it is getting me. So I'm going to show you the book I'm reading. And I love books. I've been reading to my kids. Hi, Noelle. I've been reading to my kids a couple days a week from personal development books because we're homeschooling now. And I want to provide character development for them. That wasn't really done much with us growing up. My mom was so busy all the time, and my biological father was always like not around. And so, you know, I had to figure out a lot of this stuff in my 20s when I joined my first marketing company, network marketing company, where they had books and tapes, thank goodness, $7 a week, but I was able to hear the stories, and I was able to listen, you know, read the little books. They give these tiny little books. And so, oh, cool, what are you making? But anyways, so I didn't get that much until my 20s. And then once I started reading, though, personal development books, I put down the fiction because I am one that will, I'm like my daughter. My daughter, she can eat at nice. She can eat an entire series of books in a week and a half. I mean, she's just kind of an amazing reader like that. So I don't read fiction because I'm the same way. I won't sleep until I finish that book. But I'm also getting to be the same way with my personal development books lately because they've just been really speaking to my heart. So this book right here, I got this at Barnes & Noble. It was like, you know how like you walk in the door and they have these like $7.98 books, $6.98 books, $5.98 books? Okay, this one was $7.98. So it was an expensive 98 book. Anyways. But this book right here, Brian Tracy, No Excuses. Whoa. Yeah, my kids and I will be going, there's questions at the end of every chapter that you can do and start to work through this book. And what I love about this book is it's called No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline. Because especially in our world, the world that we get to live in right now, personally, you know, we do really well, and it's really fun to do really well. So sometimes self-discipline can kind of go out the window. And so I picked up this book, actually gave one away at a training to somebody who wanted before I even read it. And then I picked it up the other day and I said, oh my gosh, this book is so good. So I want to read to you all this book. It talks about self-discipline and character. Self-discipline. Like, who wants to do that? But I myself, I started doing these 21-day challenges for me. 90-day challenges, I lose track of. 30-day challenges are too long. But 21 days, I could do 21 days of anything. Like, that's what, and I know that doing something every day for 21 days is what builds a habit. And that's so true. Like, I started exercising more and just going for quick walks. And that has helped me so much to build that habit of I need to walk, I need to move my body. I started rapping every 4 days again. That's my own 21-day challenge. And I love doing a 21-day because then you can do another 21-day and another 21-day. And then you can feel accomplished. If you fall off the ladder for a minute, who cares? It's a 21-day challenge. Get back on. It's only 21 days, right? So, you know, it's all good. So, you know, give yourself a break. So forgive yourself a little bit, but I want to read this to you. It says, hold yourself responsible for a higher standard than anyone else expects of you. Never excuse yourself. Never pity yourself. Be a hard master to yourself and be lenient to everyone else. And that was Henry Ward Beecher. 19th century clergyman. So what does that mean? You know, sometimes we're so hard on other people, but we're not really that hard on ourselves, right? And what does that look like? That looks like criticism. That looks like, oh, they should be doing this. Da, 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 da. What about you, man? Like, what are you doing? So be harder on yourself, because you're the one that drives your life. You're the one that drives your business. You're the one that drives your fitness. You're the one that drives your everything. You're it. And this book also talks a lot about taking personal responsibility as well. And that's something that I had to start to do big time when Mom passed away, because Mom wasn't there anymore. And my daughter remembers this too. I parked myself in the money section of a library, and I just put myself there, and I read books because I had to get a grip on this finance thing. I had to get a grip on something because I was scared and I was sinking. So that personal responsibility thing is huge. And so they talk about that throughout this book too, but it's also talking about thinking long term. Most people cannot think long term. They think short term. And in anything, you have to think long term, right? So you have to think longer term. So whatever you're doing, whatever business you're in, whatever career you have, if you don't think long term, your short term will look different. And it says here, the practice of long-term thinking applies to work, career, marriage, relationships, money, and personal conduct, each of which is covered in the pages ahead, of course, because that's the beginning of the book. Like, that's like page 10. This book is so good. But successful people make sure that everything they do in the short term is consistent with where they want to end up in the long term. They practice self-discipline at all times. That's hard, right? Because, you know, I've not done that. And sometimes I will, you know, not be as self-disciplined as I need to be. And I'm not thinking long term. So this book is just like changing a lot of things for me. It's just so good. Oh my gosh. I want to read it now, right? But perhaps the most important word in the long-term thinking is sacrifice. Superior people have the ability to, throughout their lives, make sacrifices in the short term, both large and small, so as to assure greater results and rewards in the long term. You see this willingness to sacrifice in people who spend many hours and years preparing, studying, and upgrading their skills to make themselves more valuable so that they can have a better life in the future. So perhaps the most important word in long-term thinking is sacrifice. Superior people have the ability to, throughout their lives, make sacrifices in the short term, both large and small, so as to assure greater results and rewards in the long term. So for us, because we have a work-at-home business, that means that instead of watching a movie, or instead of doing whatever, we sacrifice some of that time to do what we need to do for our business, right? Our follow-ups and our stuff like that. And we have to. But we also need balance too, right? So, but this book is just going to be so good. I'm just so excited. And then there's another author in here, and I'm going to eat his books up too. See, I love reading books and I like reading books where they mention other authors and other books, because then it just gets me on like a, and these are older books too. This is Brian Tracy stuff. So Brian Tracy, what I love about Brian Tracy, and I didn't realize this about Brian Tracy, because you know Brian Tracy, right? 9 Down Conant, and he is like huge motivational speaker, and he carries himself so well. I thought he came from like a rich family. Like, I didn't realize his story was that he was a manual laborer and he did not graduate from high school. He just left school and started to do a manual labor. And then when he was about 22 years old, he's sitting in his little apartment at his little table, and he's exhausted. He had to get up at 5 a.m. to get on 3 buses to get to work by 8 a.m. to do manual labor all day on construction sites. And then he'd get home at 7 o'clock at night and then do it all over again. The grind, every day, every day, every day. And then he asked himself a question, and the question was, he came to this realization that this was his life. Like, this was going to be his life. And when you get to that realization in your life, and I think all of us do this, you get to this realization, like, is this it? You know, like, is this it for my life? And he started to ask questions about that, and he realized, I just read this yesterday or today, he realized that that was going to be his life. Like, that was it. Ugh. So what he did was he said, what do successful people do to be successful? And then he did something else, is he went down to the local bookstore and he started buying books, and he started educating himself and listening to stories of what other people do for success. And then he got into, what did he get into first? I think he got into, what did he get into first? I wanted to read this one again. Good thing I'm reading it to my kids, because what I do is I read a chapter and then I read it to my kids, and I read a chapter, then I read it to my family. And so we're going on a road trip, and I'll be in the back of the car reading to the kids, reading to the family, and writing down their answers to the questions that are at the back of these chapters. But he started, and then he did well, and then he got into real estate development, not knowing anything, but applying the self-discipline of learning new thought patterns, learning new ways of thinking. That's good stuff. So anyways, so let me know if you enjoyed this ramble. Like I said, I'm new to Periscope, but I'll be doing it more often now that I have my Maria Napoli thing set up right on the Twitter thing, because that just took forever to figure out. And if you like this, thank you. Let me know, and tell your friends that Maria Napoli is on Periscope now. And you know, I always love to share good stuff with you guys. But this book right here is one that I will be consuming this week, and I'm doing some other cool things too. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you all. Mwah! Thanks. Talk to you guys later. Bye. How do I turn this off? You know, I always get stuck on that part too, right? Stop broadcast. There it is. See you guys later. Bye.